welcome to Chris Cook for You Too. I have a great side dish for you. Today I'm going to be making creamy AuGratin potatoes. So let's get started with the ingredients that you're going to need to make this awesome side dish. You're going to need flour, milk, pepper and salt, onions, 1/2 stick of butter, cheddar cheese, and of course you're going to need the potatoes. So I'm going to go away, peel my potatoes, and I'll be right back. Okay, now we're back, and I'm getting ready to put together the AuGratin potatoes. I want to show you this sitting off to the side. I have 2.5 cups of milk, 4 tablespoons of flour, salt, and pepper, and some cheddar cheese. We're going to use that to make the roux. But now we're just going to take our potatoes. I've already cut them. Okay, now if this is too big for you, just go ahead and just slice it in half. In a greased baking sheet, my sheet that I'm using, or baking pan, my baking pan dish that I'm using, it's a 9 by 13. So I'm just going to put a layer of the potatoes in there. On top of that, this is 1 tablespoon of salt, and this is a 1/2 tablespoon of black pepper. That's all you're going to need. I'm going to add that. I have pre-chopped these onions up, and all I did was slice them. Did them the same way I did the potatoes. Sliced them whole and sliced them in half. So I'm going to put some of these potatoes all over the top of, some of the onions all over the top of my potatoes. Then I'm going to continue that process. Remember, if it's too big for you, then just cut it in half. So you're making like a potato chip slice. But if that works out, just to be too big, then just go ahead and just cut them in half. So you put another layer of the potatoes, and then you put a little bit more of the salt, a little bit more of the black pepper, and you put some more of your onions. Now you're going to continue this process until all of your potatoes have been added to your baking dish. Okay, so I got those in, and I'm going to finish this out. Now you're going to bake this in a 375 degree oven for roughly 1 hour. The last 10 minutes of cooking, you're going to have it covered with foil. The last 10 minutes of cooking, you're going to take the foil off just so the top can brown. Okay, now once you have all of your potatoes over inside of your dish, and you've added all of your onions as well, then you're going to add just a little bit more of your salt and your pepper. Okay, now once I put the sauce on this is ready to go in my oven with some aluminum foil. So what I'm going to do is, at this point, I'm going to meet you at the stove so that I can make the roux, pour it over the potatoes, cover it with foil, bake it in a 375 degree oven for roughly about 50 minutes. After that 50 minutes, I'm going to remove the foil, allow it to cook for the last 10 minutes uncovered so that my top can brown. So I'll meet you at my stove. Be right back. Okay, now I'm at my stove, and this is the 1/2 stick of butter that you saw in the beginning. Okay, so I've already melted that butter, and to that I'm going to add my leftover pepper, my leftover salt, and that is 4 tablespoons of flour, because at this point I'm going to make a roux. And what I want to do is I want to cook that flour, which takes roughly about a minute. I want to cook that flour up. I had a little bit more salt and a little bit more pepper there. Okay. You don't want to burn it. You just want to cook it. And that's a fast cook. It takes roughly about a minute. Okay? So once you cook up your flour and you cooked up your salt, pepper, and your butter mixture in with your flour, This only takes about a minute now. Then you want to go ahead and you want to add your milk. Now you have to cook that flour because you don't want a pasty taste. And if you don't cook it, you're going to get a pasty taste. Okay. That's been about a minute. So now I'm going to go ahead and add my 2½ cups of milk. Okay, and I'm going to stir this for a little while until it thickens. Now that takes a short period of time as well. It'll probably take about 3 minutes for this to thicken. Now, when I get ready to add my cheese, I'm going to add all but a little bit of my cheese. Because when I take off the aluminum foil after it's been cooking for the 50 minutes, then I'm going to sprinkle just a little bit more of my cheese down on the top of my potatoes. So I'm going to use about 3/4 of that bag, and that's an 8-ounce bag. I did use, let me tell you this, I did use 6 russet potatoes. They were medium russet potatoes. So if you're using this 9 by 13 type dish like I am, it can hold the 6 potatoes, maybe 5 if you don't want it as full as mine is. And then you're going to add your cheese to just that. I'm turning it up just a little bit so I can go ahead and thicken up. Now this is a very good dish, and I think you will truly enjoy it. I'm baking pork chops tonight, so I'm going to have the scalloped AuGratin potatoes, or creamy AuGratin potatoes, and with that I'm going to have the my baked pork chops. Now if you want to add just a little bit of garlic or a little bit of onion powder, you can, but it's really not necessary. Okay. So this is going to take about 3 minutes, so I'm going to sit here and stir this for about 3 minutes. I'll bring you back in about 2 minutes because I've been stirring for about a minute. So I'll bring you back in 2 minutes just before I get ready to put this topping on. Be right back. Okay, now this has thickened. It's been cooking roughly about 3 minutes. And you can tell it's thicker than it was. See how it is? That's the way you want it. So now I'm going to add this 1/2 bag of cheese. And what you don't ever want to do is burn it. So stay with it. And all you want to do is just melt. I removed that from the stove because the only thing I want to do at this point is just melt it, which I've already done. Okay, now look at my cream sauce. See how that is? That's real creamy. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this cream sauce, cut my stove off, and I'm going to pour it all over the top of my potatoes. I need a dish towel. I dropped a little bit on my stove. Look how good that looks. And it's not even cooked. Now dishes of this type, you do not want to burn it. See that? That is not burnt. So now my cheese sauce is all over the top of my dish. So what I'm going to do now is I'm not going to add my other bit of cheese. Remember, there's the rest of my cheese. I'm going to save it. I'm going to take and cover this dish with my foil. I'm going to put it in a 375-degree oven. I'm going to allow this to cook for 50 minutes. At the end of 50 minutes, I will bring you back, show you what it looked like, sprinkle on that other cheese, put it back in for 10 minutes, then I'll show you the finished dish. Okay, now I'm back. And I'm going to take this out of the oven. It smells delicious. And at this point, I'm going to open it. And it appears to be done. So I'm going to sprinkle the top with some cheese. And you can use any brand of cheese that you want to use. And you can use any type of cheese that you want to use. So you don't have to necessarily use cheddar. You can use any of them. That's enough. I didn't put a lot on it. So I'm going to stick it back in the oven for 10 minutes. And what I'll do is I'll bring it back after 10 minutes and I'll dish it up. Be right back. Okay, now I'm back. And it's been 10 minutes. And there it is. That is my creamy AuGratin potatoes. So I'm going to dish up a little bit. And I'm going to put it down. And you can see the cream sauce. It's piping hot too. Alrighty, so there you go. You can see the cream sauce on the inside, and you can see how good it looks. It's still piping hot because I just took it from the oven, but I did allow it to cook because I gave you the wrong instructions on the cooking time. It should cook for an hour and 30 minutes. So I allowed it to cook for an hour and 20 minutes. Then I took it out, put the cheese on it, put it back in. You can tell not only by the cheese melting down, you can tell around the edges when it's brown that it is done. So this is what Chris is having for dinner tonight. I'm having baked pork chops and creamy AuGratin potatoes. I think you should try this recipe. I know you're really going to enjoy it. And as always, thank you for watching. Chris cooked for you too. Bye.